All right. Oh, okay. This is awesome. Man,
Yeah. Why are you out of breath, Ife?
I'm out of breath because I just did 20 push-ups. That's why I'm out of breath.
Did it reset your vagus nerve?
It reset something. Cause
Blood started flowing to new places?
yeah, in my chest area, you know. I'm
Yeah.
wearing black, so you can't really tell. You can't really see all the muscles.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. Okay, I need a second. You go say
Yeah.
something. You
So
say something.
basically, I don't know. The weather's bad, you know.
Yeah,
I guess that's a good part about being in the studio world is studios are inside.
yeah. It's been. I feel like every time we've been together working on something, it's been raining.
The devil is trying to stop us. I don't think the devil can control weather though.
No,
There's no way.
but I think. I think every time I think about the rain, I'm like, okay, at least the grass is gonna get, something, whatever. And then, cause like it's so hot in Texas, you
Yeah.
know, when it gets like really, really hot and like in the middle of summer, you start seeing the cracks in the concrete and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, let some water get in there, like soak everything up, and
Yeah, it
at
just looks like
least-
it looks like SpongeBob when he was out of the water for too long, drying up on that underneath the lamp. All you want to do is give him some water.
I haven't seen that episode.
You've never seen the SpongeBob movie where they go to Shell
Oh, the
City?
movie? I haven't seen the movie.
Dude,
I know.
come on,
I know.
culture yourself, man.
I'll tell you the reason why I haven't seen the movie yet.
Why is that?
It's because every time I'm watching an animated movie, most of the time, my son's there, and I'm not really sure SpongeBob is like.
Yeah, it's definitely questionable sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, yeah. But I'll catch one of these days. I like SpongeBob, but I haven't seen the movie yet.
It's my favorite thing ever.
Really, SpongeBob?
Dude, when I can't sleep, I turn it on.
Have you
I
heard?
watched it all throughout my childhood.
Have you heard the Afrobeat version of the SpongeBob theme song?
For the trap beat.
You haven't heard the Afrobeat version?
No.
Go listen to the Afrobeat version.
All right, and you watched the SpongeBob movie.
Deal. Deal.
Deal.
Okay. It was, yeah. People are going to be shocked watching this that you haven't heard the Afrobeat version. Just like some people are going to be shocked that haven't seen the SpongeBob movie. But that's okay.
Yes, I think people will shed tears over that. But anyhow, let's jump straight into it, dude. Should we?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Are you ready to put the phone down? That way you can do the intro.
I don't even have it in front of me.
Top.
I don't have it in front of me.
Okay. All
But
right. Well, I
yeah.
just gotta make sure. I wouldn't know if the phone was turned on.
All right, here it goes. Welcome to the New Music Podcast. I'm Ife, and
I'm Jackson.
where we talk about the ups and downs of being an artist in this new space of the music industry, music business,
Yep.
from the perspective of the producers and engineers that you work with every day.
Which coincidentally enough were producers and engineers.
We're some of them.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is absolutely crazy. So, should we include producers? Because we talked about before that producers are starting to kind of like merge and become like artists,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, is that something?
Calvin Harris, by the way, on that previous episode,
Yeah.
when I could remember the name of the artist with the slide song with Frank Ocean, it's Calvin Harris. Yeah. I was.
clip it from this episode and insert it in that one.
Well, I have a black shirt on that episode. I wear black a lot, so
Yeah.
it might work. But yeah,
I think conveniently I was wearing the same shirt somehow. That was like 3 weeks ago when we recorded that episode.
I think so. Yeah,
Something like that. Felt like about 35 minutes ago.
yeah. I feel like we're in our what's it called? There's a word for it. Podcast honeymoon or something.
I don't know.
It's something like, we're kind of like jazzed up right now.
Yeah. Wait. What's the percentage of podcasts? How many podcasts to be in the top 1%? Was it 21?
How many episodes?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it was 21.
21 episodes.
So technically, we've recorded 6.
Right.
And unfortunately, somehow that ends up being 4 that we have.
Yeah.
So we'll count it as 4.
Uh-huh.
So we are 5 point... Is that right, Jeff? 21 divided by 4 means we're 5.2% there.
No. No. That math is not mathing right now.
Cut.
No, we're not cutting that. We'll leave that right in.
It made sense.
We're not 5% there. Because you said 20 episodes and we've done 4.
It comes out to 5.
That's 20%, right? Yeah.
It's like whenever these lights are on and stuff, I feel like my mental calculator completely shuts down.
I think that's about 20%. 4 is 20% of 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff,
Yeah.
this is really where you would be stepping in
Right?
before.
No, it's 5. 5 is 20%.
What percent are we of the way there to 21
20
episodes?
20 episodes? Wait, we're 4 in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're 5%. Wait, no.
20%.
25%.
Yeah. I'm 20 to 25%. Yeah.
5 is a quarter of 20.
But we don't have 5. I just rounded down to 20%.
I mean, close enough.
It's not 5%.
20% and 25%.
It's definitely not
That's a
5%.
big difference.
Oh, man.
But what are we talking about today, Ife?
We're talking about what it's going to take for us to get to 21 episodes.
Drive.
You like that, don't you?
Drive.
Yeah. Today, we're talking about drive. So, you know what? I love this because I've never done anything like this before, right? As when I was an artist with my band Alias Brown, as a music producer, as a mix engineer, I have never put myself out there. If you go on my Instagram, out of however many, I'll say probably about 5 to 10% of my posts have my face in it. Right? And this is me being vulnerable right now, right? And just kind of like talking about the real. Have my face in it, and there was a realization, not when we started, but I have known that for me to really bring awareness to what I do, because I'm really good at what I do, but to really bring awareness to it, I have to be a personality. I've been personable.
Yep.
At least the perception of it, because I am personable in real life, but you don't know that if you don't know that, right?
Yeah.
So how the main way right now of getting there has been deciding to partner with you, right? And there's so many awesome and great things that are going to come from this partnership and friendship with, the two of us and Jeff, who's doing an amazing job with everything that you guys are seeing, right? What is going to really get us going to get to that top echelon of podcasts, and that space, is to get to 21 episodes.
Yeah.
For us to get there, it's going to take sheer drive.
Correct.
We have the skills to do it, right? I basically set up the sound. I didn't even mean to do this time, but you can see the 1073 unison. You see the LA2A, and I'm sure this thing sounds amazing, right?
Yeah.
And Jackson, you basically decided what equipment that we needed to get. You know what I'm saying? To get this done. And Jeff has all the skills on the visual side. But if we don't actually do it and get up, every Thursday that we get together to get this thing done, and know that we're going to do it every week, regardless of whatever is going on in our lives. We're going to get to 21, celebrate that goal, and then
Yeah.
keep going after that. Drive is
Yep.
what it's going to take. The fact that I'm good at music or whatever, and you're good at music, and Jeff is great at at the visual arts, doesn't mean anything.
Right. Those are starting positions.
Yeah.
How are you going to take advantage of your head start, or are you just going to sit still and be the hare in the race against the tortoise
Mhm.
who goes and goes and goes? But essentially, for anybody that didn't know, any podcast that gets to 21 episodes is instantly in the top 1% of all podcasters. And that's like crazy. That
That's
just
really
goes
crazy.
to show that just showing up, that's the main thing you can do. And drive beats talent
Can I tell you something else?
day in and day out.
Can I tell you something else? And I feel like this is going to come back later.
Yeah.
I called one of my really good friends he's one of the voices in his space, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing guy. And I tell him, hey, what do you think? Me and a good friend of mine, we're starting a podcast. And before I even landed, he was like, nope, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Like, do something else. Like, you're crazy on the keys. Do some videos of you playing the keys and, like, find some other ways to create content. Don't do a podcast. I'm like, why? Because it's saturated. Everybody's doing a podcast now.
But who's doing 21 episodes?
Who's doing 21 and being driven to break through like that?
So however many podcasts there are in the world, what is 1% of that? It's a number that could fit in probably inside of a decent sized warehouse or something.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
a small room.
For sure. And if you're in that 1%, let's talk about the niche of music. You're now in like 5% of that 1%.
Right. Yeah. You break it apart because a podcast is like universal. It's
Everything.
It's not like we're becoming professional fishermen where it's this specific thing that can't be translated to multiple avenues.
Mm-hmm.
Podcasting is a way to like shed light on what it is you're doing.
Right.
There are podcasts where people just talk
Mm-hmm.
to talk. This is solely a means of like shedding light on music, our experience,
Mm-hmm.
and also what we do.
Yeah.
And sharing any advice we can with artists out there to help them out.
If you just keep driving and keep pushing, you are going to single yourself out and position yourself to be really successful. Now, again, this is our fourth episode.
Official
Official fourth episode, right? We might make this episode 6. I don't know. But this is the fourth one we're shooting, right? Fourth, yeah. So those of you who are with us now, or even if you're looking back to this, I want you guys to see how much we've grown. Or if you're on the journey with us, I want you to see how much we're going to grow.
Right. And it's about like the reason I'm excited for this is not because this episode is happening.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I'm excited for this is from 30 episodes from now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not showing up because this needs to be the perfect episode, the best episode we've ever done.
Yeah.
Although we obviously are trying to do the best we can
Of course.
with our current skill level in this space. But we know we're going to do what it takes because there's 3 of us with the necessary skills and we're going to show up.
Yeah.
That's the baseline thing that has to happen. We're going to have episodes where we don't feel like we want to post it. We're going to have episodes where we don't seem so, excited to be here. But
Mm-hmm.
you best believe we're going to have episodes, seasons, series. We're going to shoot a movie one day about the origin of this podcast.
NIWSpace, the movie.
Yeah. Trending number 6,580 on Netflix.
I hope not. I really hope not. 6,586. That would be, oof. That's a no. Hey man, come on. Number 2
You're
on
right, you're
USA
right.
Today.
This is my thing. My whole point, I was about to pivot into this fact. Regardless of the results,
Mm-hmm.
we're coming back.
Yeah,
We're coming back for more.
Keep doing it. All right. dude, there's a bunch of stuff that we've kind of like talked about behind the scenes that I wanted to talk about today. But there's one that just keeps poking at me,
What's that?
and it's like close to the bottom. Embracing failure. You know, so for me, growing up in an African home, very Christian, devout Christian African home, there was always this thing about failure being like something that was bad. That failure only happens to people who have done wrong.
Mm.
Failure only happens to people who are, sinning and that type of thing, And there would be prayer and it'd be like, that we will never fail, that we would never fail, that we would always be first and would never be last. And I understand the meaning behind it and the drive behind it. But if you really, really think about it, right? Failure is something that is completely misunderstood, because failure really should be explained in that circle or any other circle as when challenges happen, you stop, and then you just stop.
Right.
And you never, ever get back up again and keep going.
Right. It's not that you missed the shot. It's that you left the court. That would be failure in my mind.
One of the biggest things about failure, again, it would be about like school. You don't fail in school.
Right. And I think that changes the definition of it in a lot of people's minds, that if you don't do something up to a certain standard, just leave it and go.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
But I mean, if you think about like failure in school, dude, if you take a class and you don't pass, you can go take the class again.
Yeah.
Can't you? If someone is trying to be a doctor and in pre-med, they fail chemistry or biology or whatever, right? They go back and they take it again. But the next time they come back around to it, they are more focused. They develop a routine.
Yeah.
That's better for them. They join study groups.
Yeah.
Right? And then they pass.
Yep.
By the time they pass that class and go to the next class, and graduate, do the MCAT, get into medical school, write the board exams, become doctors, right? By the time they do that, nobody's going to go back and say, well, you failed that class back then. Because the reason why they have that degree, the reason why they're a doctor now, is because at whatever point they failed, they got up, repositioned themselves, pivoted, and went at it again and passed. Right?
Yeah.
And now they're doctors. Who's nobody's the wiser, right? I think that I know for a fact that as an artist, as a music professional, as somebody in the music business, or if you're in the music industry, if you fail, if you stop, that's it. But if you stop and you fail at one go and you come back around again and you try it a different way, even when it comes to mixing, I've mixed songs that are like, this is not it. All right, save as, whatever name song, version 2, faders down, and I start again. And then I succeed. By the time that song comes out and you hear it, and like, man, this mix is crazy, nobody's going to care, and nobody should care that I mixed a song before and it was an absolute flop.
Yeah.
It didn't sound great.
Yeah. And at what point have you failed? Like, failure means lack of success. Like, your road to success has now been cut off.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine like a situation where an artist necessarily fails. Like you release an album and it doesn't do great. That's not failure. It didn't perform as good as you'd like. You went to a record label and they rejected you. That's not failure. That's one route kind of got closed off. Failure, you don't cut off the road to success until you give up.
Yeah.
So that gives me a lot of hope, knowing that there's going to be times when I try to perform and it just does not work out well, but showing back up is the tangible version of success when you don't feel like you have any.
You know, you were talking about a song not doing well, right? I got the perfect example for you about how failure can be a misconception, misunderstood, or like it's misunderstood really.
Yeah.
There's a song by this girl woman. Her name is Kate Bush. She had a song called "Running Up That Hill." You know the song?
Mm-mm.
It's on Stranger Things. It came out in the 80s and didn't do that great,
Yeah.
right? But a music supervisor somewhere decided to sync it. And because, Stranger Things got this 80s type of vibe to it.
Yeah.
And people really resonated with the song. And the song had this uptick 20 years, 35 years after its original release, and became a hit 35 years later.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And somebody's going to look up that song right now, just, listen to me.
Yeah, like at what point have you reached the cutoff where you, like, is it when you turn 25 and you haven't made it? When you turn 30 and you haven't made it? When you turn 50 and you haven't
Who died
made
to
it?
make those rules up, dude?
That's my point, is like there's nothing that can happen where it's like you have no choice but to turn the other way. Obviously, circumstances happen and things will pull you away from your dreams, but it's a choice to just continue working at what you want to do.
I mean, now, if you want to be a professional, like, half pipe, snowboarder at 55, I mean, more power to you. I mean, I don't think you should do that.
I mean, I might ditch music at this point and go try to do that.
Well, I mean,
Now that
you're
you bring it
young, you're good, you'll be fine. But, or football,
Yeah.
don't do that. But music, music is music, dude. Like, that nobody should be stopped from being able to do that.
Well, right. Like in that situation, it's like your pure ability to do something that has a standard. With music, it's completely subjective. So it's a completely different world. It deals with failure in a different way, I feel like. Like if you wanted to become an NFL player, there's one path. That door could get slammed on you against your will. Nowadays with music, you can do it from your bedroom.
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny you say about football? The path for football is kind of opening up. There's like 3 or 4 people who are professional rugby players in Europe who are in the NFL now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's a path to the NFL from Africa. There are NFL teams in Germany, England. Not NFL teams, but professional football teams.
Yeah.
In Europe now that are getting scouted for teams here. And a few people have come over to the NFL from Germany and those type of teams. So it's constantly changing. I feel like, music now, I mean, this, Jay-Z didn't have his first hit till it was like deep in his 30s or whatever. And there's lots of artists who are successful now who didn't start till like super, super late. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, that's almost a non-factor, but when it comes to this failure thing, man, I'm so passionate about it because I was held captive by it for a very long time, and now the only person that can make me fail is me. Because whenever somebody says no to, your sound or your music as an artist or whatever, that's that's on somebody else. But I'm the one who's going to decide as an artist. If I was an artist, like, okay, I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
The moment I don't stop, then I'm not failing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just it.
Absolutely. And so, piggybacking off that more towards the direction of drive,
Mm-hmm.
your talent is your like little treasure gift that you're given.
Mm-hmm.
And your drive is your ability to put it out there. Because if you're talented, that doesn't mean people are going to go out of their way to find you because they don't know your talent exists.
Mm-hmm.
Your drive is what gets you to put your talent in front of the eyes of other people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why even somebody with little talent but drive to get it out there, a little talent is more talent in one specific area than probably 99% of the rest of the world. So if it's being put out there, then it more likely than not will attract attention to some degree. So that's why drive overrides talent every single time.
Maybe to a certain degree, in with what you're talking about right now, I could probably exchange drive for persistence.
Yeah. Consistency. Too.
Yeah, consistency, right?
Resilience.
Resilience. Just going at it and going after it, constantly. And I think the problem is that TV, social media, and all this stuff, it creates this illusion that the people that we enjoy and we see, just find it so easy. They just wake up, roll out of bed, and they're just winning at life and in music. But a lot of work goes on behind the scenes.
Uh-huh.
A lot of work really, really, really does go on.
Yeah.
Example, there's an artist. I consider her like a C-list. She's a C-lister. She's dating an A-lister, but she's a C-lister, right? And we're in LA, and we have a couple of sessions booked with her, me and a team of writers and producers. And because we have schedules, we know where she is, like, every day for a couple of days. We know her schedule. Bro, I kid you not, there's no way she was sleeping more than 5 hours a day.
Yeah.
No way. Because we knew when she was at this other studio with this other producer, and they put in 6 hours. You know what I mean? And then LA traffic to get to the next studio, they're in the car for 2 hours. I don't know, she might have dozed off in the car. I don't know.
Yeah.
But off to the next studio. When we had our first session, we started at 6 p.m. and we didn't get there until 7 o'clock in the morning.
That's rough.
She went and got some rest, and we saw each other like 6 hours later
Yeah.
in another studio. And when she left, we knew who she was scheduled to go. And this is a C-list artist.
Yeah.
If you look at her Instagram, it's all glam and makeup, and she looks good and all this. But I'm like, they're working hard. She's working hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's what's going to draw the eyes.
That's the only way to do it. That's the only way for her to win. So I'm like, if this person, who I'm sorry I can't say the name, is working this hard, and she has a machine behind her, not the biggest machine, but she has a significant machine behind her, who are the rest of us without the machines to be like not driven?
Yeah.
It's because you're doing music and you love it doesn't mean it's gonna be easy. And like, you're just gonna like do it when you feel like it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
It's
mean
hard work.
anybody's like somebody's going to come to you and just fix all your problems.
Nope.
Because there's plenty of people I've tried to work with and give them opportunities where they were the most talented singers, artists I've ever encountered, but they were slow. They weren't showing up.
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want to invest in that, because now you're playing the lottery if somebody just happens to notice their talent. You don't want to, like, people aren't going to want to invest in just a talent. They're going to want to make sure that talent is being properly, moved around and shown and shared with the world. And the person that's holding that treasure plays the majority of that role in getting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So how do you find the right person to, like, we've kind of found the perfect little circle here,
Mm-hmm. I agree.
of skills to drive to talent. What do you do when you're trying to start a business with somebody, trying to start a musical career with somebody, and they're the most talented person ever, but they're not driven?
You walk away.
And for these people who are like, a lot of people feel like they can't walk away because their confidence is built with this person. They're one with this person. Maybe they're like a band, right? And
Okay.
they're too afraid to pursue the career alone without their friends by their side.
Yeah, I guess you don't really want it that bad. I mean, what do you want? What are you looking for? Because if your goals and your dreams are attached to somebody else who doesn't, obviously, based on what you're saying, does not care about your dreams and your vision, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like trying to date somebody that doesn't want to date you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Where,
kinda,
like, on the
it's
surface,
unhealthy. It's
on the
toxic.
surface, the conversation might say otherwise, but the oldest saying in the book, actions speak louder than words.
Actions speak louder than words, dude.
I think they do.
But I thought you were going to go somewhere a little different with that. With, like, man, you say this person's stupid talented, and, like, because they're so talented, you can just see it. You can see the writing on the wall. Me and this person together, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome, right? The truth is that you're wrong, because there might have been a little era where it just took being super talented and gifted, and then just being noticed, and then you're good.
Yeah.
That era is over. Everybody is kind of like noticeable right now because of technology, because of social media. What's going to get you and me to episode 21 and then the 1%, right? And what's going to get you as an artist to the 1%, on Spotify, Apple Music, if you decide to, put your stuff out there, or with your fans, or the 1% of artists who have a decent fan base, is consistency and drive and getting up and getting at it every day.
Yep.
So if you're doing music because you didn't want to go to school to go study engineering, like mechanical, electrical engineering, you want to go to school to be a lawyer, you want to go to school to be a nurse or a doctor or this, that, and the other, you thought music was going to be easier, well, go back and go do that.
Yeah.
Because it's not any easier on this side.
It's not. The reward is bigger, so actually it's a little more difficult.
It's a little more difficult.
Like, you spend more time. The journey's longer, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a guarantee. There's certain paths you can take in this industry where you're more likely to have success.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there is no, like, you go to Berkeley and get a 4-year degree, and now you've got all these huge artists knocking on your door.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not how it works. So unfortunately, there's a little risk, but it comes with a large reward when you do work extra hard for it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just want your best shot at it, you just put in the work. And you show up.
Yeah.
And you're consistent, persistent, resilient, and driven. The key word, driven. But Also, this I've got an interesting quote about being independent. To try to achieve maximum effectiveness through independence is like trying to play tennis with a golf club. The tool is not suited to the reality. But with interdependence, I am self-reliant and capable, but I also realize that you and I working together can accomplish far more than even at my best I could accomplish alone.
Mm-hmm.
So now you get to the point where you're driven, or you're a little talented. Maybe you're really talented. You're driven. You're independent. And now you've got this, and now you team up with people who also have that I guess perfect state of being for this, and you like increase your chances like threefold in this situation. You know, teaming up with the right people is crucial. It's what we're made to do.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good way to increase your odds, especially in the music industry. Partnering up with people, it's just going to increase your chances.
There was something we talked about in episode 2, Jack. And in episode 2, we talked about the music industry, music business, and how to make money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we really honed in on was like how you were going to make money, how you were going to really engage with your fans and do all those things. I think that one thing that can help you be driven is understanding what your goal is, what your goals are. If you know that, all right, it's summer of 2024, by summer of 2025, I want to build up to 200 fans that really mess with my music. 200 fans that really mess with my music by summer of 2025. So that when I got a song that I'm working on already, 2025 summer, I want to drop it. And I want these people to like really, really like be there for me as an artist. If you have that as a goal, then you're driving towards something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about this way. What if me and you get in the car, right? And I want to go downtown Dallas.
Uh-huh.
You want to go to, you want to go to Shops of Legacy in Plano, right? And right now we're in North Dallas off of 35 and Welch, right? We get in the same car. And I start looking for the tollway to head south. Doesn't matter how driven you feel. You're not going downtown. You're not going to Shops Legacy. Mm-hmm. You're going downtown.
Yeah.
Right?
Or if we're both in the car and we're like subconsciously trying to go to two different places, we might end up arguing so much on the way. No, wait, turn that way. We think we're going to the same place, but little do we know we're thinking about two different places.
Mm-hmm.
We end up never going anywhere.
Yeah. But I feel like earlier when you were asking about, or when you're talking about, somebody who's not driven, who doesn't have a goal, downtown Dallas, in mind, but you're trying to get them to get with you on that when they're not.
Maybe this would be a better way to put it. The person who's not driven wants to go to downtown Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
The person who's driven wants to go to, what's a big like studio in downtown? Like a very specific point.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There's terrible parts of downtown Dallas that you do not want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
And so how could you be driven when you just want success in general? How do you dial that in to follow a certain path? You've really got to boil it down and figure out where are you going specifically.
I think what you just said is so funny to me. Success in general. That's such That's, to me, that's such an ironic, like it's so weird to say, to hear that, because like, what does that really mean? Success in general. What is success? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm locking into what you're saying about being specific, knowing exactly where you want to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there has to be a point where you can say I've succeeded because you've reached a specific point.
Yeah. Imagine you're coming up here to this studio and you got to Frisco and like, yeah, I'm kind of around there. Yeah.
Can you come to the door? I'm in the area.
Yeah. We would not have ever met. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah.
It's
and that
pinpointing
leads to another point about really documenting or writing down exactly what you want your goals to be.
Yeah.
I remember I was watching this documentary and I saw it. It was Michael Jackson when he was like still a member of the Jackson 5. You seen that?
Yeah.
And he wrote down what he wanted to be. He wrote down that, people were going to call him MJ and all that stuff. And, he was going to be like a solo artist. He was writing this on a tour bus while he was with Jackson 5.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, like, I've read a bunch of like biographies. Every artist's biography that I've read, whether it's an excerpt, a bridged version, or whatever, there's always a version of that, a version of when they wrote down or documented exactly what they wanted to get out of all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and from that point, it can literally be boiled down to like a day-to-day formula. Like you can actually figure out what it is you need to do to get there, and that's really the only possible way to do it.
I set the clear goals, man.
Yeah, and
this stuff sounds so basic, but it's so true, dude. It's so
Yeah.
fundamental.
Yeah.
So
Well,
real.
and it's like it's something I've really struggled with is trying to partner up with people that want it, but not enough to show up. And that's something that's always really bothered me, and learning to let go of that and just continue to do what I do has been a challenge. But if you're out there, like, you've got a friend or someone who's on board, but is just slowing down the boat or something, it's important to understand that most likely the only way out is to walk the plank, buddy.
Yeah.
Just send him overboard. But this is an interesting quote here. These are all from the same book, dude.
Okay.
7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
I like it.
Highly recommend the book. No one can persuade another to change. Each of us guards a gate of change that can only be opened from the inside. We cannot open the gate of another, either by argument or by emotional appeal.
Break it down for us.
Like, people are locked in, dude. There's no video you can send that person. There's nothing you can say to them. There's no amount of money you can make doing the thing you're doing to get them to wake up, to flip the switch on. They have to choose to do it. There's nothing that you can do when you're trying to, drag people along and get people interested in your vision. If they're not interested, they're not interested. Move on.
Maybe because they're passionate about something else. That's where they're,
I don't know.
So stay driven. Keep going. Do not be afraid to fail. Fail forward. Right? What else? And just be resilient.
Yep.
And get to episode 21. And whatever that means for you.
Yeah, get to your episode 21.
Yeah.
Whatever that
Get to
means.
your episode 21.
And when we hit episode 21, what are we going to do for that?
We're going to pop a bottle of champagne. That's it. We're done.